Welcome, everybody. This is episode 24 of the MEE-FIT podcast. I'm joined today by one of our members, Carolyn, who has kindly agreed to come and sit down with us and have a bit of a discussion about her time with us so far. So, Carol, if it's okay with you, could you just introduce yourself to everybody, give people a little bit of indication of just a little bit about yourself and how long you've been here?
Yeah, I joined MEE-FIT in 2017, so 8 years now, which is longest I've stuck with a gym ever. But I joined to get fitter for a charity hike that I did in Mount Olympus in 2018. So I joined in 2017 to just improve my fitness, ready for that, really. I live locally, now retired, happily. And still carry on coming in 3 times a week, which is great.
Good. Cool. So I remember obviously joined us, we were in the old gym then, and you did initially did one-to-one sessions with Shan.
Yes.
That was your first sort of kind of type of training with us. And then obviously as time went on, transitioned into the small groups, but we'll come back to that. But initially, I mean, obviously it's a good time ago now. We were in a different gym, Shan's not as involved now, but what was your initial experience with us? How did the initial kind of first few months go in that one-to-one setting?
I really enjoyed that one-to-one session, and I was very busy at work, so I booked the slots I booked one at 4:30, I think it was, which meant that one day I had an early finish. So wherever I was, I had to get back for that session. And particularly on a one-to-one, you do that. Yeah. Because I know it's bonkers, you're paying for your session, but you feel that you're letting somebody down if you can't make it. Yeah. So that was great. And then I did a Friday morning session as well. Yeah. So I just did those 2 sessions a week to start with. And that was the discipline that I needed to focus on something regularly. Yeah. Nice. And thoroughly enjoyed it.
Good. And I don't actually know this or can't remember, was your thoughts initially that I'm going to do this until the walk, or did you come into it thinking I'm going to stick with this longer than that and I'm going to continue with it longer term?
I honestly can't remember. I don't think I had any real thoughts beyond that hike that I'd got to get fit for. And I was not going to let anything go after that, because if you've worked quite hard to get your fitness to a level that you can do something, what's the point in then letting it all go? Because it's so much harder to get it back again. They say, don't they, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Absolutely.
You do really quickly. So I didn't think much about getting through that hike, which was the following May. But by that time I was kind of hooked on it anyway. Okay. So, it just carried on.
And how did the hike go?
Great. Yeah. Great. Yeah. Yeah, it was. It was tough. Yeah. But it was good fun.
And you still do a lot of that now?
I still do that. That's when I got the bug for hill walking. Okay, cool. Really. Yeah. Still do a lot of that now.
Cool. Fun. So just going back a little bit further than that, really, prior to MEE-FIT, obviously you mentioned at the start, it's the longest you've ever been in a gym before. What's been your previous experience in gyms over the years?
I get bored.
Okay.
I've always had some kind of exercise on the go. When I was very young, I used to do a lot of dancing. Actually, into my 20s, I was still doing dancing. I started doing ballet in my 20s, which is a bit late. Your legs do not want to do what they're supposed to do for ballet, but it was a way of being fit. Yeah. With my husband, we sailed regularly. We sailed at Lake Bala. It was catamaran sailing, so it was very physical. We raced, and we raced competitively on occasions as well. I did a lot of cycling. So over the years, I've always had some kind of exercise that I've done on a reasonably regular basis. The gym was something a little bit more structured, and particularly for me, of a certain age, that resistance training, everything that I've read says you should do it. Yeah, absolutely. It's good for you.
Cool. So amongst that time of doing all those other activities, have you experienced gyms then for a certain length of time, or just in and out? Or
I used to go to one at the John Talbot School. Yeah. I used to go to one in Market Drayton when I spent a lot more time over in Market Drayton area, and it never really lasted because I just got bored. Yeah. There was no instructor there. You just went and you did something on the machines, and then you went home again. Yeah. And it wasn't for me. Yeah.
Yeah. So the standard gym model, I suppose, of just here's our kit, here's your membership card, come and use it, wasn't
not for me.
Fitted right for you. Yeah. Which is a common thing amongst a lot of our members. You know, a lot of clients have tried that approach and maybe not known what to do or just not felt overly motivated when they get there. And, you know, there's always those challenges. But cool. So how quickly then, you said you enjoyed the initial time with us. I mean, how quickly did you think, this is good for me, this is working for me?
Very quickly, to be fair,
cool.
Because I like a bit of structure.
Yeah.
I like a plan. And so having that structure, and you've heard me say it, and Shan's heard me say it, Em's heard me say it, I'm not that concerned about lifting heavier and heavier stuff. What I am concerned about is getting it right and getting the technique right. So having somebody on hand to make sure that you're doing that, for me, is important.
Yeah, cool. And then if we think about the time scale, then obviously that was a good 8 years ago now. Just remind me, did you transition into doing the smaller group PT model at the old gym, or did that come when we were here?
Came when you were here.
Here, yeah.
Yeah, certainly. I know you'd mentioned it to me before, but at that point, because I was working full-time, I just hadn't got... It was a real effort to fit those 2 sessions in and make sure that I did them every week.
Yeah.
My job meant that I would normally start at 8. There's a lot of driving. My clients were far and wide, so I could get home at 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And having those 2 sessions worked for me.
Yeah.
And although, as you all said to me at the time, and I took on board, you get better value with the small group. I just couldn't do it. It was only when I went part-time with my business that I managed to... It worked better for me. And then coming more regularly. And my days were a bit more flexible then as well.
Got you. I think if I remember rightly, the COVID lockdown probably forced a little bit of that, if I remember rightly, because obviously we had to close the old gym. We were going to come here and have this grand opening. That didn't happen because of everything that we had to do around that. So I remember that was probably the first time that you had to get involved in the
fitness on Zoom.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Let's not dwell on that too long.
It more regularly. And it kind of stuck from that. And then, of course, I joined the small groups. Which I really like. I do like that.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of times we've had people who've experienced one-to-one training, whether that's with us or in other places, and can be concerned about a small group environment. From what you said there, that wasn't the issue for you. It was more the logistics and the timing and everything else. What you were doing just worked. But what was your experience in that, going from a one-to-one setting into a smaller group setting? How did you find that transition? What were the maybe pros or cons, being open with it?
Well, I think it says it all that I'm fully retired now, but I still come to the same sessions at 8.
Yes, yeah.
And that's because I've got to know that group.
Yeah.
And I really like that group. And it's sociable.
Yeah.
It would be in another, I'm sure, but they're just a nice group of people.
Yes.
And I enjoy spending that time with them. So I've carried on coming at the 8 o'clock session in the morning.
Good.
And it just works. I'm a morning person. I am better doing my exercise in the morning. I've tried classes in the evenings over the years, be it aerobics, be it yoga, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm not great in the evening. I'm just not. I was never, even as a kid, I wasn't an evening person.
Yeah.
I was always in bed by 9:30.
Okay.
So, boring.
Yeah, just like me.
So I'm better doing it in the morning.
Yeah, good. I think I'm exactly the same as you. I find like the later the day goes, the less likely I'm going to do it, because it's just like the stresses of the day and the thoughts of the day have got on top of you, haven't they, and stuff. So it's just get it out of the way early doors. In terms of, I suppose, one of the concerns people will have when they've gone from a one-to-one is feeling that they're going to lose maybe some of the personalization or that type of thing. I mean, what's been your experience with that going into a smaller group model? I
don't think I've lost the personalization. Sometimes, honestly speaking, it gets busy now.
Yeah.
And it gets busier than I've known, which is great for you guys, of course, that's what you want. But on those busy days, we've got more than one coach.
Yeah.
So you never feel that there's nobody there, you're left on your own, because you're not.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah.
And you're mixing it up a bit as well.
Yeah.
So you don't get bored.
Yeah,
you know that after so many weeks, it's going to look a bit different than it did.
Yeah.
In the previous weeks.
Yeah.
So, I've just slotted into it, and it works for me.
Good.
And I enjoy that. In fact, I probably enjoy it more now. Would I go back to one-to-one? I don't need to, but I probably wouldn't because I enjoy the small group.
Yeah, and neither me or Shan or anyone else ever take that as a criticism, of course, because I know what you mean. Like, it's, I'm sure you got on well with Shan and it was a nice relationship there, of course, but you just get a different vibe and a different atmosphere within a small group setting. And I think that's why we've generally gone, as time has gone on, gone more and more down that route.
You spur each other on a bit as well. If somebody's carrying a bit of an injury, Julie's carrying a bit of an injury at the moment.
Yeah.
You know about it, and because we've got the belts and we keep in touch, you can send a little. Didn't see you this morning. What have you done?
Yes.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
And that's quite nice as well.
Good. Yeah, because I think that's a big part of this here is that community feel, and that, we went on the Stuyvesant Walk recently, and all those types of things are just a great part of doing that, which you don't get as much of when you're working with one-to-one, because you've only got that relationship with that one person. So it's been a good journey from you from one-to-one into smaller groups. That's the main thing, isn't it? That's the main thing. Now, it's not all been plain sailing for you. Are you happy to kind of just discuss that a little bit? Obviously you had a pretty big health issue scare, issue a couple of years ago. Just fill us in on that if you don't mind.
2 years ago, almost to the day, March the 10th, 2023, I got a cancer diagnosis, which came absolutely out of the blue. Didn't see it coming at all. Nobody ever does, do they, to be fair? That was a bit of a shock. The treatment started early May 2023. It was quite brutal, really, but I got through it. I've said this before, so much better, and I'm absolutely convinced it was because my fitness levels were pretty good going into that. The oncologist said the same.
Yeah.
And I carried on coming for as long as I could. There did get a time when I just couldn't. Radiotherapy and chemotherapy absolutely takes it out of you. And
it wasn't a long period of time that, though, if I remember rightly, was it?
No, it wasn't.
No.
The treatment was for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
It's a cumulative treatment, so it builds up.
Yeah.
But I think I was only out of the gym. It was less than a month.
That
I was out of the gym for. Yeah. So I carried on coming probably for 3 or 4 weeks into the treatment.
Yeah.
The last 2 weeks were uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Then I was hospitalised for a short spell at the end of the treatment. And a couple of weeks after that, I was back again.
Yeah.
Said before, this use it or lose it. Blimey, did it disappear quickly? And it really did. But you just get back into it. And for me, that was really, really important.
Yeah.
And I would say to anybody, keep your fitness up. Don't let it drop. And if you have to, don't give up on it. Just bring it back because it does help to get through these knocks and life throws them at you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cancer's 1 in 2.
Yeah.
It can be any of us. So keep your fitness up.
Yeah.
Be healthy. Doesn't mean don't have fun. Watch what you eat. Watch what you drink.
Yeah.
Do your exercise.
Excellent. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We agree with that completely, and it's a drum that we're often banging with people, because it's funny how many people we kind of speak to who reach out to us, and I'm sure this happens to lots of other gyms, personal trainers, fitness facilities, where something has happened, cancer or a heart issue or something, that prompts them to then think, I need to do something about my health. You know what I mean? Which is, so I suppose the more we can put out to people from yourselves and from us to say, don't wait.
No, don't wait.
That,
just
do it anyway as prevention. And then also, like you said, being able to better. What sort of impact do you think it had? You said about being fit and healthy helped you. How do you think that was the case?
On all of mentally as well.
Okay.
Because it is a shock to the system, and it does change you. I've been one of these people that I guess you've taken your health for granted a little bit. Yes, I work on it and it's important to me, but you do kind of take it for granted. And I've become a little bit nervous. And it's not me at all. So you get a little twinge and you think, what's that?
Okay.
And I don't like that about myself. And you just have to, I suppose the longer it goes on, I'm on my 5-year journey. So I'm got another 3 years before I officially get the all clear.
Yeah.
And there have been times along the way when I've had a little scare and you have to go back and you have another scan and they say, no, everything's fine. But if mentally you're in a good place, and I was, although it was a shock, and I was in a good place partly because if you're fit and healthy, you're stronger mentally as well. And that helps you through it. So you don't dwell on it. Well, I didn't. I never ever said, why me? Because why not me? If it's 1 in 2, why not? Yeah. My attitude has always been, well, what are we going to do about it then? My husband was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes end of last year, which was more of a shock to him than it was to me, because I knew that he should have been losing a little bit of weight and should have been watching his diet a little bit more. But again, my view was, so what are we going to do about it? This is what we're going to do about it. And his sugar levels are now back in normal zones. Good. And I do think that is, if you're healthy in body, you're healthy in mind. Yeah.
What has he been doing out of interest?
We changed his diet. We were talking about this earlier. Sugar, refined sugar has just gone. Yeah. Completely gone. Watch the carbs. You need some, but we watch the carbs. So puddings, cake, biscuits,
just reduced.
Out of the window. I've got a secret stash. Okay, nice. I do have the odd biscuit and the odd square of chocolate. But real change to diets. A bit more in the way of structured exercise. Malcolm never stops. He's always on the go. But I'm trying to get him into something a little bit more, do this every day. Yeah. And it becomes a habit.
So just something we often find, Cal, and I'll just kind of get your perspective on this. Like, we have a lot of people who think that the gym, a lot of times it's for weight loss purposes. People view it that way. I don't need to go to the gym because I don't need to lose weight, or, everyone in the gym wants to lose weight. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I know that's never really been a big part of your journey with us, and that's not really ever been a key focus. So I suppose my question is, like, what keeps you coming back to the gym? What, because for people out there who think gyms are for weight loss, like, they'd be thinking, well, why do you even bother? Do you know what I mean? So I suppose what's your kind of thoughts on that?
And it's not, I've never gone to a gym to lose weight. I guess I've been lucky. I don't really put weight on. I could if I really tried, but I've been able to, all my life, been able to eat pretty much what I've wanted without piling weight on. So it's never been that for me. It is about feeling physically stronger, mentally stronger. And as I said before, women of a certain age, the resistance training, the weight training, everything that I read now says that's what you should be doing. It builds your strength. It helps prevent osteoporosis, which is important at my age. I don't want to fall down a mountain and break my leg and not be able to do anything for 6 months. So that's always been what it's for me. It is about feeling good physically and good mentally, not necessarily how I look in terms of, are you carrying too much weight? I know if I put a bit of weight on, and I'm just a bit stricter with myself so that it goes again. It's never been about the weight. No. I know it's part and parcel of it, but for me personally, if you get the other two, the weight kind of looks after itself.
No, it was interesting to gain your perspective on that, because like I said, it's certainly not something we believe, but we always have people who will reach out and they'll think, or they'll view the gym as a weight loss environment, but we've got a lot of clients here who that's not the thing that brings them. So I was just interested to hear what that view was for you. I suppose what I was thinking is, because that's not your area of concern, it was, I suppose, a message for anyone who is thinking about a gym, but maybe because they don't need to lose weight, they think, oh, maybe the gym isn't for me. Do you know what I mean? We do weirdly still deal with that. And I know what you said there about the mindset is definitely shifting, and the education around the importance of strength and resistance-based training is becoming more prevalent. So hopefully that mindset will be on the out, hopefully, but it is still something that people will bring up with us and stuff,
It's so not just about weight. It's so not.
Yeah, I suppose that then means that you view not just here, but this type of approach of training as something that you're going to continue with longer term. No changes to that, because like you said, the importance of it like you mentioned, bone mineral density, loss of muscle mass starts to accelerate as we get older, and if we can try and maintain that as much as we can. How do you feel it impacts on the other activities that you do? Obviously, you mentioned the hill walking's a big thing for you.
It's got to help. You know, what I started to do is the aerobic session, the endurance session on Friday morning.
Yeah.
Because I felt, particularly after I'd finished my treatment a couple of years ago, that my aerobic fitness wasn't as good as perhaps it could be.
Yeah.
It's an all-over thing, isn't it? It's not just strength training. And I had a little bit of not an issue earlier this year. We were on holiday, and the Apple Watch can be a pain, can't it? Malcolm says you run your life by that watch. And to a degree you do. But what it was telling me was that my resting heart rate had gone up.
Okay.
And that my heart rate genuinely was getting a little bit higher. So I spoke to the GP, because I do know. I don't put it off.
Yeah.
And we think that it was just... We'd gone to New Zealand, so it was a long flight.
Yeah.
We were in altitude for a long time. A lot of walking at altitude as well. And it's settled down. But that aerobic fitness as well as the strength fitness,
absolutely.
It is an all-over thing.
Yeah.
And I love being outside, so that the walking helps. And doing the aerobic session here helps the walking. And then the strength training sort of just feeds into that as well.
Good. Yeah, absolutely. It's great, because I think the hill walking obviously is great for your heart, of course, and lungs. But I suppose what we do in the endurance sessions obviously probably going to take that a little bit higher than maybe what you would on a hill walk, unless you're going up a really steep incline, and you're going to have those challenging phases. But, absolutely. I think a balance of we talk a lot about strength and resistance-based training, because I think people understand the benefits of cardiovascular fitness. I think that's more established, whereas I think the strength and resistance side is definitely better. I think back when you started, I think even then, 10 years ago, I think it was people didn't understand as much about the importance of that, especially of an age. Whereas now, I think that's becoming more and more talked about, which is a really positive thing.
I'm sure you're right. 10, 15 years ago, would a 64-year-old, which I nearly am, be lifting weights?
Yeah, probably not. No. It's getting better.
It's moved. And it's getting better.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, you see, you'll be aware our clientele predominantly in their, I'd say 40s, but I'd probably say more so 50s, 60s. That's sort of typically the age demographic that we work with predominantly. So it's certainly improving, which is good. One I know concern a lot of people have, and me and Tommy did a podcast the other day about this, actually, the all or nothing mindset, and how people think, if I'm not doing however much training in the gym or whatever, is it worthwhile? You've generally speaking done sort of 2 to 3 sessions a week with us. And we always try and highlight that, because I think so many people have this view that if I'm not doing 5, 6 sessions or so, a lot of training, that it's not worth it. What's your kind of thoughts on that?
I think, being active is a broad spectrum, isn't it? The coming in for me 3 times a week is tablets of stone. That's in my diary. That's the structure I need. I will do it. I will walk pretty much most weekends. I'm lucky I've got a group of 4 other friends. We all walk together, and there's always somebody to walk with. So if one can't or 2 can't, there's usually somebody to walk with. But it's and that's the structured side of it. I don't think I'm an addictive personality, so I'm not one of these people that's just going to, you've got to do more, you've got to do more, you've got to do more. And nor should you. Yeah. I think coming to a gym or going swimming or going for, or whatever it might be, if you put that into your diary so many times a week and everything else works around it and is a bonus, I've before now set my watch when I've been doing the housework, because it's surprising actually when you look at it, you think, cleaning those windows did get the heart rate going. So it's not one thing, and it's not you've got to do that one thing every day, several times a day. Just do it 2 or 3 times a week. Yeah. That's your building blocks, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Those are your foundations, and everything else adds to it.
Because for a while, I always say only, and that's inverted commas for anyone who's watching, not with the video, did 2 sessions with us for quite a while, but still got good outcome
Yes.
from that, you
Yes,
know? And I think that's
definitely.
what we often try and challenge with people because, you know, for some people, only 2 sessions might be all you can do.
Yeah.
But don't let the reason that you don't do it be that you can only do 2 and not 5. You know, do the 2.
Do the 2 because you will find that you do other things
Yes.
to add into that.
Yeah,
you choose to do.
Yeah.
Well, I did.
I think we're going to kind of look at summing up there, Cal, because that's
Okay.
covered off a lot of bases, which has been fab. But something we'll always ask people at the end of one of these episodes is just a little bit of advice or your thoughts to anyone who, you know, maybe in a similar boat to yourself previously. I know you came because you had something particularly to work towards, but, you know, anyone who's sort of, whether they've been on the fence about making a start, whether that's here or elsewhere, just generally with the health and fitness, you know, or they're unsure about whether or not they should do that or shouldn't do that. Like, what would your kind of message to that person be?
Just do it. Just do it. It's self-perpetuating. The more you do, the more you want to do.
Yeah.
So just do it.
Excellent. Well, we'll finish up there. Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
Carl, it's been an absolute pleasure, as always, to sit down with you. And thank you for your continued loyalty and support to us.
And I will not watch this at all. I hate to see myself on a screen. So
Well, I'm sure it'll be beneficial. And, you know, you've had an interesting journey and a challenging journey, and one that I think should be admired. Fair play to you for the continual effort and how
Thank
well you
you.
dealt with that whole period of time was admirable. I know we did a little video with you then and got a lot of really positive and amazing feedback from that, and people mentioned it and
let's
asked
be
about
honest,
you.
I'm not the only one in the gym, am I?
No,
That's going through this journey.
No, absolutely not. No.
So,
Yeah.
you know, it happens.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you. So yeah, that was episode 24 of the MEE-FIT podcast. Thank you very much for anyone who has listened to that. And yeah, feel free to subscribe on any platform that you're using to access our podcast so you don't miss any other upcoming episodes with any of our other amazing clients. Thank you all very much, and we'll see you all soon.